Hello guys, welcome back to my channel in English Academy. Guys, please like, share, follow, comment and subscribe the channel. Guys, if you have subscribed the channel, now we come on the topic, the poem on his 23rd birthday. Guys, this sonnet was written by the famous English poet John Milton. Guys, before explaining the poem, we must know about the poet John Milton. Guys, John Milton was born in London in a family that was very well off. He grew up in an atmosphere where religious piety coexisted with love of music. As a child, he showed a great promise. Sorry, as a child, he showed great promise. His early verses, his success at school, and his gift of music seemed to suggest a great future. He couldn't but believe that he was destined to perform some task which should bring glory to God. That his destiny could be that of the poet prophet, he had little doubt. He had the highest opinion of the poet's vocation and thought that the poet should prepare himself for this high calling by hard studies, a pure life, and devout prayer to the eternal Spirit. He had no he had no doubt that once he prepared himself, God would inspire him as he had inspired the prophets of the Old Testament. Guys, Milton set himself a rigorous schedule and set himself to no limits. From the age of 12, he never went to bed before midnight. He read all the best works of Hebrew, Greek, Roman, and contemporary writers. In one of his letters to his friend Diodati, he wrote that he was thinking of immortality by writing some things that posterity will not let willingly die. Guys, Milton was equally interested in what was going on all around him. He was deeply involved in the struggle for political and religious liberty. He was zealous partition of republicanism and Puritanism, and when the Great Rebellion broke out, he took it to be the will of God that he should devote himself to this task with all his might. Guys, Milton gave up his poetic ambition for 20 years between 1638 and 1658. He wrote little poetry, and all his energies and his talents as writer were in the service of republic. But Oliver Cromwell died in 1658. The King Charles II returned in 1660, and the republic for which Milton had given up his political career collapsed. Milton, who had become blind in 1652, returned to poetry. Thus, Milton's career shows three clear divisions: the early period, which ends in 1638, and the middle period, which spreads over 20 years from 1639 to 1658, and the last period till his death in 1674. In the first period, he writes under the influence of Greece and Rome, and his poetry shows all the best features of the Renaissance. To this period belong Allegro, Sacred Penseroso, Mass, Camus, and the pastoral elegy Lyciad on the death of his friend Edward King. The middle period of Milton's literary career is devoted to the writing of prose. The subjects which occupied him were education, registry, and diverse. In all these, the dominant theme is liberty, which found a powerful expression in his famous Areopagitica. Tilliard sees in his prose works his songs of hope and the proof of the poet's belief, and the England was the chosen nation for God's second appearance. The last period was the most difficult period for this poet who had such great faith in God. His despair, his fear of God's deserts, sorry, his fear of God, and the final restoration of his faith in the justice of God constitutes the theme of his last works, his greatest, in which he fulfills his destiny. Paradise Lost, which was published in 1670, which was published in 1667, Paradise Regained, and Samson Agonists, which was published in 1671. The last was a tragedy which written on the Greek model. Guys, Milton shows a blend of two opposed movements of the period. He is a Puritan in his deep veneration for religion and morality in his absolute, absolute faith in God. But he is also a man of the Renaissance in his love of music, literature, architecture, philosophy, and other fine arts. This duality in is a fact of his nature and pulsates through his works. Guys, we come on the poem. This poem on his 23rd birthday is a sonnet. This sonnet is supposed to have been written about the year 1631. It occurs in the poet's handwritings as a part of a letter wrote to a friend in the Cambridge. This sonnet is about Milton himself. It is described as an inseparable part of Milton's autobiography. It is at once a proof and an illustration of the fact that very early Milton had conceived of his life as devoted to do some great purpose and of the seriousness with which he regarded the preparations necessary for achieving it. In fact, this sonnet was written when Milton had passed 23 years of his life. It should be entitled on his 24th birthday. Guys, now we explain one by one line of the poem. So, guys, come on the poem and let's start now. How soon hath time the the subtle thief of youth stolen stolen on his wing my 3 and 20th year, my hasting days fly on with full career. But my late spring no bud or blossom sweet. Guys, in the opening lines, the poet feels that 23 years of his life have passed very quickly. The passing of these years looked like a horse gallop to a short distance. Time in the form of a cunning thief. He has stolen away his youth. Stolen on his wing my 3 and 20th year, my hasting days flies on with full career. The poet wants to say that his young age is almost over. He has not yet composed any poem of great merit, nor even showed promise of any. These lines shows Milton's disappointment. These lines show Milton's disappointment at his apparent inactivity, and also shows the sense of high ambition in poetry. Perhaps my next lines, perhaps my semblance might deceive the truth that I to manhood am arrived so near, and inward ripeness doth much less appear. that some more timely happy spirits indulge. Guys, in these lines, the poet said that his outward appearance is quite youthful. By looking at him, people may not be able to form a true estimate of his age. They may not be able to judge that he had almost reached manhood. The development of his mental faculties is lagging still more behind. His poetic talents have not yet begun to reveal themselves. In this respect, he is less fortunate than those whose natural gifts bear fruit in proper course of time. He thinks that it is high time that he himself should be in a position to produce some great poetical works. These are the conclusion. Guys, in, in these lines, the poet's mood will change to faith in God under all circumstances. Yet be it less or soon or slow, it shall be still in a strict great measure even to the same lot, however mean or high, towards which time leads me, and the will of heaven. All is if I have grace to use it so, as ever in my great taskmaster's eye. Guys, last stanza of the poem, the poet says that he expresses a wise and noble waiting for God's will. Milton believes that all his life is already under the eye of God. His great taskmaster, is a great taskmaster. Milton says that everything in his life under the supervision and care of God. If only he has grace to use it, it should be noted that from the beginning Milton dedicated his abilities to God as a servant to his master. Guys, in these lines, mm, the poet marks the change in his mood. He is no longer disappointed. He is wholly under the gaze of God. God is supervising his life's activities and he knows best what is good for him. So there is no need to be disappointed. In fact, it will show lack of faith in God. Thanks so much guys for watching this video. Guys, don't forget to like the video. Thanks so much guys.